thoughts on character research. Now, how do you take on a role that's so ingrained in the public's imagination that it becomes almost factual? Now, John Thor's portrayal of Inspector Morse is so well loved. Is it tricky to try and do your own version, putting your stamp on that character? I spoke to my friend Shaun Evans, who faced that very challenge, as well as playing the part of Kurt Cobain in the stage play Kurt and Sid. People know you for, obviously, your role as young Morse in Endeavour, and obviously you've played factual roles as well, but it's a character that's so ingrained in people's imaginations, and obviously people had a relationship with Morse. I mean, did you feel that was a big sense of responsibility for you?
Do you know, I didn't. I feel like I was lucky, really, because you've got them at different ages. Well, I mean, no, firstly, because like I didn't watch it growing up, so it wasn't big on my radar as a youngster. I sort of came at it fresh. But I think also the fact that there's 25 or 30 years between the characters when John Thor played it and when I play it, it gives you freedom, I think. So whilst it's a great thing that the audience did love it the first time round, you can be brand new within parameters, obviously, and also given that there's only so many ways you can skin a cat, there's some very specific things that you need to get with the character. But no, I didn't feel like responsibility.
Now, talk to me about playing Kurt Cobain. How did that come about?
Again, a little bit like Endeavour, I didn't know a great deal about him. I hadn't been a fan of Nirvana when I was growing up. I knew of the music, but it was kind of on the peripheries. I wasn't a massive fan. But then I got sent the script and I thought it was a brilliant idea and a brilliant character. I read it and thought the interesting thing was who this person was and the things that had been going through his mind, and I brought him to this point. I was thinking about this person, and it's the same in a way when I was thinking about Endeavour. Why are we telling this person's story at this time? What is it about it that's interesting? I think the basis of most of all drama is obviously conflict, and we have the character in a conflict at that time on many levels, and the more complex and the more interesting and visceral the levels of conflict, the more interesting the character becomes. Now, I'd never played anyone who had existed before. You can say, you're the owner of saying, I know what I want this person to look like. I want it to look like that, or I want my hair to be that way, but with that, there was a very particular goal, a very particular end point which I needed in order for it to be believable as well. So it was a really interesting thing for me in that respect. There was a definite end point in terms of physical transformation, and it changed the way I worked from then moving forward, because there was something really great about taking something so far away from you, you know.
So are you saying on this one you work sort of outside in? You sort of got.
Well, I think that it was both. I think it was they met each other, so it was outside in and inside out.
Did you watch Last Days, anything like that, Gus Van Sant's film? Did you sort of...
No, I didn't watch that because it was a fictionalisation, I felt, of it. And I haven't really watched any of the John Thor's version of Morse either, because when I read the books first, your response, or at least for me, always has to be from the imagination. So I didn't watch that. I watched footage in the Kurt Cobain situation. I watched footage of him because I wanted to get really specific the way that he spoke for the audience, but yeah, for myself, because I thought maybe there's something in that. There's something in that person's way of speaking that might help me in some way, you know. So I watched loads of footage of him, the way he held himself sort of physically in the world, like vulnerable and kind of within himself, and how that manifested in physically. And if you can get a little essence of that, or, you know, get a little essence, copy. If you can copy that and make it your own, then you're doing your job, I think, as well.